Hey guys, Caleb's Cards here, coming at you with a World War I autograph pickup video. I picked out 3 autographs that I bought over the past month and a half or so, and wanted to share them with you and their stories behind them. So hopefully you'll stay and watch this video to the end and learn about a little bit of history with me. So it's lots of fun looking up these gentlemen and learning about them. So first up, we got a World War I veteran, John F. Babcock. I accidentally bought 2, but that's alright. I may give one away or just keep it. One is definitely, I think, when he was a little bit younger, and then the one that you see over here when he's 106. So he was a Canadian World War I veteran. And let's learn a little bit about him. So he was born on July 23rd, 1900, and would pass away February 18th, 2010, at the age of 109. He was the last known surviving veteran of the Canadian military to serve in the First World War, and after the death of Harry Patch, was the conflict's oldest surviving veteran. So he was pretty much the last one still living at the time. Babcock first attempted to join the Army at the age of 15, but was turned down and sent to work in Halifax until he was placed in the Young Soldiers Battalion in August 1917. Babcock was then transferred to the United Kingdom, where he continued his training until the end of the war. Having never seen combat, though, Babcock did not consider himself a veteran and moved to the United States in the 1920s, where he joined the United States Army and eventually became an electrician in May 2007. Following the death of Dwight Wilson, he became the last surviving veteran of the First World War who served with the Canadian Forces. From that point, he received international attention, including 109th birthday greetings from Queen Elizabeth II, the Governor-General of Canada, and the Canadian Prime Minister until his death on February 18, 2010. He was born into a family of 13 children, so that's a lot of siblings. And unfortunately, he lost his father in 1906 to a tree cutting accident, so he really didn't know his father that well. It's really sad. At the age of 15 and a half, Babcock was impressed at Perth Road by 2 recruiting officers, one of lieutenant and one of a sergeant, who quoted from the poem The Charge of the Light Brigade. He was also enticed by the offered salary, which was $1.10 per day, as opposed to the 50 cents he could have made through physical labor. So wow, they were raking in the money back then. $1.10. Kind of makes you really think that the money that you make now at our jobs doesn't compare, even though, you know, obviously inflation was different, but it kind of makes you think, well, these guys were only making like $1, so we should be more grateful. Babcock was recruited in Sydenham, Ontario, and joined the 146th Battalion of the Canadian Expeditionary Force. He was then sent to Valcartier, Quebec. There, Babcock underwent a physical where it was discovered that he was underage. He was designated status A4, physically fit, but underage. So he almost made it. There were many gentlemen who, through World War I and World War II, who were willing to, they were younger, they were willing to sacrifice for the country, which is quite commendable. Still technically wrong because they're not adults, but commendable that at such a young age that they would want to go and do that and serve their country. It says Babcock was turned down but managed to make it all the way to Halifax by train before he was stopped by the company commander. In Halifax, he was sent to Wellington Barracks, the city's peacetime barracks, where he wrestled freight onto large army vehicles and dug ditches. So he still got to serve in a way, even underage. Tired of the work, Babcock took the opportunity to volunteer for the Royal Canadian Regiment when 50 recruits were called on, claiming that his age was 18. Officials quickly discovered that he was only 16. However, and they placed him in a reserve battalion known as the Boys or Young Soldiers Battalion, August 1917. Babcock then undertook an ocean voyage to England, and in Liverpool he was stationed with the 26th Reserve and sent to Bexhill-on-Sea, where he trained with about 1,300 others, about a third of whom were veterans from battles in France. And then finally, the Young Soldiers Battalion trained the recruits for 8 hours a day. In his spare time, Babcock went to Scotland, where he met his first girlfriend, a woman from the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps. He was also introduced to the pleasures of beer and the horrors of war that some of the older veterans had come across. Babcock asserts that he would have fought in the conflict given the chance, but the war ended before he could be brought to the front lines there the next year in 1918, so he'd only been like 17. For this reason, Babcock claims that he never felt like a real soldier and rarely talked of his experiences until the centenary. He also never joined any veterans associations. So I can see where he may have felt like, he didn't really consider himself a veteran, but he did serve and he was willing to serve, and in my opinion, I deem him as a hero. So he was there and he was willing. So whether or not he actually saw battle, he was still, every job in the military is important. If somebody's not doing their job, it's going to slow down for everybody else. So definitely a cool story from Mr. Babcock. A nice story that we'll put in with my folder. And one of these days when it's all completed, I'll have to do that. I'll have to make sure I'll try and include some photos for you guys. I forgot to do that before I got this video together, but the printer will probably be really loud super early in the morning while everybody's sleeping, so probably not a good idea. So that's the first autograph. Next up is an autograph type letter. Could potentially be a secretarial or auto pen. I think they kind of started to have them around this time, but it's still cool to be related to him if it is or isn't. But it is a type letter to the Disabled American Veterans by John J. Bradley. And there's the signature. It's from Todd Moeller Autographs. It's actually in Colorado Springs, so it didn't have to travel too far. And it's dated December 13th, 1945. It says, Dear Miss Mandel, President Truman has stated that our debt to the heroic men and valiant women in the service of our country can never be repaid. Your contribution last year to the disabled American veterans was evidence that you also realize that our debt, particularly to our disabled defenders, can never be fully repaid. Through your support and that of other public-spirited Americans, the DAV has been able to institute a training program through which disabled veterans of World War II are being trained to become National Service Officers. Following their training, these DAV service officers will render direct, personalized assistance to the more than 2 million other veterans who have become disabled as a result of this war. Evidence of the great need for this type of service is given by the heads of the Army, the Navy, and the Veterans Administration, who are best informed on this subject. Excerpts from their endorsements are enclosed. I'm sure you know how vital this organization's services are to our war-disabled veterans. In view of the imperative need this year, a renewal of your generous support at this time will be of inestimable help. It says, P.S. Please make checks payable to Henry C. Bruni, National Treasurer. So, let's learn actually about what Mr. John J. Bradley did. So, John J. Bradley was born April 20th, 1869, and passed away on May 21st, 1948. So, a little less than 3 years after that letter was typed. He was a United States Army officer and a brigadier general who commanded the 8th Infantry Division during World War I. Bradley served overseas in the Philippine insurrection, for which he received the Purple Heart Medal and a Silver Star Medal, as well as in China. In 1912, he graduated from the Army School of the Line, and in the following year, he graduated from the Army Staff College. Bradley served to the War Department General Staff in 1917 and 1918, which earned him a Distinguished Service Medal. On June 26, 1918, he was promoted to Brigadier General. He was sent to France along with American Expeditionary Forces and commanded a brigade of the 82nd Infantry Division in November 1918. Bradley commanded the 8th Infantry Division. Along with his medals from the United States, Bradley would also receive the Officer of the Legion of Honor from France. So that'd be the highest honor that could be bestowed upon someone in France. the Companion of the Order of St. Michael and St. George from England, and the Commander of the Order of the Crown from Italy. Bradley retired as a colonel in 1927 due to disabilities, but went on to practice law in the state of New York. He became a trustee of the Disabled American Veterans Service Foundation, which is why we got that letter, which adds a little bit of provenance. Bradley also belonged to the Military Order of the World Wars, Guards Club in London, and Army and Navy Club, Washington, D.C. Bradley died on May 21st, 1948 in Detroit, Michigan at the age of 79. So there wasn't a whole lot on him, but certainly still had a distinguished military career. So that's also a World War I and technically a World War II autograph. And finally, unfortunately, I don't have anything about this person. It is really unknown what his first name is. But I was doing some poking around. I found some records of a UK World War I veteran named Lawrence Broughton. So I believe this is most likely him. It would be Lawrence Broughton. So it is a letter to the editor of the London magazine about Britain Austin's piece entitled Battle Piece Old Style, and he hopes the excellent and realistic article could be reprinted. If publication in the ordinary way is not a commercial proposition, why not approach the League of Nations Union? Such a story as this one of the Britain Austins is worth more as anti-war propaganda than reams of their white papers, much more. And this was written in August 29th, 1925. So it's a long letter, but mostly it's a summary of just him asking them to reprint that article and maybe edit it a little bit. So, just a concerned citizen who wanted to make sure the truth was out about his experiences in war, and just talks about a little bit of his experience in France and I think maybe Holland on the backside, if I remember right where it was. But still cool. I didn't pay very much for it. It's a mystery who it really is, but it is a World War I related piece, so I will keep that in the collection. So that is everything. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. So talk to you later. Bye.